Swamine Tapaharine. So today you will have personal development students, a very interesting, inspiring and thoughtful interaction talk by Dr. Subramaniam from Bangalore. Dr. Subramaniam is the Pro-Chancellor of Yes Vyas, Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhan Samstha, and is our regular faculty in Human Excellence last 20 years. From the beginning, he has been with us, a mastermind and a man of tremendous resources and inspiration. So you will know more about personality development, different dimensions of the personality, etc. from Subramaniam himself. He is a live wire. He is only very young man, 80 plus years young, Subramaniam Garu. So these are students from all over the country, from Bengal, from Hyderabad, from other places. So it is between you and them to make them total developed personalities within the short time available. So over to Dr. K. Subramaniam from Bangalore. Namaste.
Thank you, Swamiji. Vande Shambhum Patim Suragurum Vande Jagat Karanam Vande Surya Shishanka Vanninayanam Vande Mukund Vande Bhaktajana Asrayam Chavaradam Vande Shivam Shankaram. Friends, it's quite appropriate that we have personality development program in Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence. The institute is named after Swami Vivekananda, who has a wonderful personality, very enticing personality, very arresting personality, bewitching personality, magnanimous personality, magnificent personality, majestic personality, a very dynamic personality. A person of his stature draws everybody's attention by his wonderful personality. We do have personality development programs all over the world. What do you mean by that personality? First and foremost, personality is physical. We go to the programs of personality development first and foremost to develop our physique. A tall person, a handsome person, or a beautiful person. This is how we will be in a position to draw the attention. This physical personality is owned by Swami Vivekananda. He was in Chicago in the month of 1893. When he reached Chicago, to his dismay, he had the information that the Parliament of Religions was postponed to September. Therefore, he had to go to Boston because the money with him was insufficient to maintain him in Chicago for a long time. He was advised by somebody to vacate the costly room in the hotel, proceed to Boston, which was about 6 to 7 hours of journey by train. He vacated the room, packed his luggage, left the hotel, and he was walking towards the railway station. When he was nearing the station, when he was leaving the hotel, when he was seen on the road with his wonderful personality, saffron robes, a tall figure, a majestic gait, piercing, penetrating looks, wonderful achar robes. This personality was seen by the people on the road, the youngsters, the old people, the children. Everybody flocked to the road to look at his wonderful personality. He did not speak, he did not smile, he did not have any conversation with anybody. He was just silently going. That personality was very enticing, very powerful, very attractive, very dynamic, irreplaceable of wonderful personality. Suppose a great cinema actor comes to our midst. Does anyone remain in the class? Everybody's attention. Young boys and girls in the schools and colleges would like to have that personality because they would like to draw everybody's attention. If a young boy is there, he would like his classmates to look at him, look at him. A young girl might want her classmates to look at her. What is it that draws everybody to our attention? That is personality. That personality is tall. Suppose we have set him. Swami Vivekananda in the recent past, when he was in Chicago, when he was walking in the street, he was able to draw everybody's attention. A few centuries or thousands of years in Dwaraka, we had Sri Krishna. In Mathura, Kamsa was performing the Dhanur Yaga. Sri Krishna, a young boy, with his elder brother Balaram, came to Mathura. When he was walking with Balaram, everybody was of his personality. Everybody was a personality. Everybody was a strong personality. For the first time, the people of Mathura looked. Prior to that, in Treta Yuga, when Sri Ramachandra Prabhu with his brother Lakshmana, under the guidance of their master Vishwamitra, proceeded to Mithila to attend Sita Swayambara, people were drawn to Sri Ram. First Vishwamitra was going, next Sri Ram, and behind him Lakshman. Not a person stayed indoors. Every child came to the street. Every elderly person came to the street. Men, women, old people, everybody came to the street. It was because of the wonderful age. When Swami Vivekananda was in Chicago walking in the street, people were drawn to his personality. In Dwapara Yuga, when Sri Krishna was walking in the streets of Mathura, people were drawn to his personality. In Treta Yuga, when Sri Ramachandra Prabhu was walking in the streets of Mithila, people were drawn to his personality. What was the attraction?
Mummy, చూడు మొత్తం ఎట్లా వస్తుంది?
Personality. They were wonderfully dressed.
Hello, sir. Subramaniam, sir.
Hello.
Sir, we can't see
Hello,
your
am I
video.
audible? Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But we can't see you, sir.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You see, I don't know whether I can be seen or not.
Excuse me, sir. There is a lot of disturbance.
From my side, there is no disturbance. From your side, I am hearing the sounds.
Yes, sir. We are fixing it.
Some children are shouting. Somebody is drinking coffee or
I
tea.
want.
There is a
sorry for
distraction. There are sounds.
I request everyone. This is Manish from a volunteer from.
Sir, your Wi-Fi.
Please, everyone, please mute their videos and audio. Turn off your videos and audio.
There are sounds.
Even in the first beginning of the session, we want everyone to stop the videos and audio.
నేను జూమ్ కాల్ కన్నా యూట్యూబ్ బాగుంటే బెటర్ ఉంది సార్ నెట్ లెక్క యూట్యూబ్ లాగా ఉంటే
Please off your videos and microphone.
Is it okay? Shall I speak? Hello.
Sir, you
Yes,
can
sir, carry on. Sir, carry on.
Sir, we are here to help him. Please turn your videos and microphones. This is a request from our end. We can't go ahead with this. Please off your videos and microphones.
అంతేలా సెకండ్ స్టోరీ
Build wonderful personality.
మళ్ళీ
Then exercise.
Hello, sir. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Subramaniam, sir. Sir, we can't hear you, sir. You are not audible. No, sir, we can't hear you, sir, still.
Now speaks. Hello.
Yes, it's
Audible?
audible now, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So the first point is personality is physical. This physical personality Swami Vivekananda has. Many actors and actresses also have. In one university, I was speaking of the personality development, and then I was describing the physical features. Mostly young boys and girls would like to have wonderful physical personality to draw the opposite gender. One boy was told, "My dear young boy, whom do you like most in the cine field?" He said, "One beautiful girl." I asked the girls. She said, "One young man, maybe in the Hindi field or Western field or Andhra field or Tamil field, etc." Then I asked that boy, "Now that you have fascination for that wonderful girl of excellent personality, do you want to marry her?" And I asked the girl, "Because you like a particular actor of wonderful personality, do you want to marry him?" Then they said, "No, no, 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 sir, certainly not." Why? You like him? He has wonderful personality. You like her? She has wonderful personality. Why don't you love? Why don't you marry? No, 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 sir. It's only admiration. Then what else do you want? We are not interested only in the physical personality. We want a person of moral personality, character. So, physical personality is only one dimension. Physical personality is all in all, not all in all. There is yet another personality. Swami Vivekananda has not only the physical personality, but he has the moral personality. I have started the episode. Swami Vivekananda went to the railway station in Chicago to proceed to Boston. And then he boarded the train. In that compartment, there were 8 people. Just in front of him, there was a lady, Mrs. some person, Sanborn. There were 6 American gentlemen. The train was about to take off, about to leave the railway station. Swami Vivekananda was looking at the sky, treetops, telephone posts, birds, etc. People were just surprised to see his wonderful personality. When the train was on the platform, many people came, looked at him. They were just appreciating his physical personality. Then one of the American gentlemen said, "Excuse me, sir, I have been observing you for the past half an hour. Many young boys and girls came to the platform just to look at you. Some of them entered the compartment just to look at you. You are indifferent to them all. You are looking at the sky. What is that wonderful charm you have? We are all American gentlemen. We are well dressed. Our watches cost several dollars. Our clothes cost several dollars. Our shoes also are very, very costly. Our hats, our tie, our everything. And we are taller than you. We are smarter than you. We are whiter than you. We are perhaps more handsome than you. But how is it people are not drawn to us? We are robust, healthy, strong, tall, attractive, but nobody was interested in us. There is something beyond your physical personality. What is that? We all look like gentlemen. We should draw everybody's attention. Instead, you are a foreigner, you are shorter, you are brown skinned. When compared to us, you are not very tall personality. How is it people are drawn to you? There is something beyond the physical personality. Then Swami Vivekananda came down to their level and told, My dear foreigners, my dear white one, my dear Americans, true what you say. To make you look like a gentleman, smart gentleman, handsome gentleman, attractive gentleman, many people have to work to give you makeup. There should be a cobbler to stitch your shoes, make your shoes. There should be a washerman to stitch your clothes. There should be a barber to give you crop. And there should be another person to polish your clothes and to polish your shoes and press your clothes. Then so many people come together. You look like a gentleman. But sir, in India, it is not the physical personality that counts. It is character that counts. And that character peeps through the physical personality. It is seen by the people in the physical personality. And therefore, people are drawn. Now, physical personality is your skin color, your height, your chest, your broad shoulders, your majestic walk, your magnetic look, all these things. But all these things are there in cinema actors and actresses, but we do not want to marry them. Something else is needed, and that is our moral personality. Mahatma Gandhi was a puny person. He did not have the physical personality. He was once arrested by the British. He was taken to the court for the trial. The court hall was jam-packed with 10,000 people. And Mahatma Gandhi, with his loincloth, without the upper garment, with the shaven head, with the bespectacled face, with a walking stick, with a pocket watch hanging from his waist, he was escorted by a few policemen. He was entering the court hall and he had the country chapel. Except the sound of the chapel and the walking stick, there was nothing else, total silence. He was to be tried in a court of law. He was the accused. When he was entering the court hall, the first person to stand with folded hands to receive Gandhiji and respect him in the court hall was the British judge. Everybody stood up, and that is the moral character. He was a puny person. He was not like any cinema actor or actress. He did not have 6 feet height, but still he was able to draw everybody's attention, not only attention, respect, reverence, and that is moral character, and that is personality. Physical personality is one, moral personality is another. And this moral personality comes to a person when he is able to control his emotions and feelings. Swami Vivekananda was in America. One day, a beautiful girl came to him. It was reported. And that girl looked at Swami Vivekananda. Vivekananda then was about 30 years. That girl said, "Sir, you are very handsome, sir. You have excellent personality, sir. You are very, very intelligent, sir. I am very young, sir. Very beautiful, sir. I like you, sir. I admire you, sir. I want you, sir. I love you, sir." Suppose a girl comes and tells us, "I love you." We get embarrassed. We get wonderstruck. Swami Vivekananda looked at her. "I see. You love me. My mother loves me. My father loves me. My brothers love me. my sisters love me, my friends love me, you love me, very good. That girl was surprised. What a man. When I say I love him, he doesn't take it in the proper perspective. She tried to make it a little more clear. How? Sir, I am young and beautiful. You are young and handsome. I love you not like your mother, not like your father, not like your sisters or brothers. I love you because of a purpose. What is that purpose? Your intelligence should not go waste. Your handsome personality should not go waste. I want a son like you by you. Should I explain still more in clearer terms? Then Swami Vivekananda looked at her. Imagine ourselves in such situation. If a girl comes and tells you, if a boy comes and tells you, we get taken aback. We are surprised. But Swami Vivekananda was very cool, very calm, very tranquil, very serene. He was least perturbed. He was least disturbed. He said, I see you would like to have a son like me. Why like? If you want a son like me, you have to conceive, carry the baby for 9 months, put up with the labor pains, deliver the child, bring up the child, educate the child. And when the boy becomes 30, he may be like me, may not be like me. You have to take the risk. You are fascinated by me. You want me, you want a son like me. Why waiting 30 years? Why troubling yourself for so much of time? Now, here, I am coming with you. You are my mother. I am your son. This is moral character. Even in a dream, there is no distraction of the mind. The world is rotten. Love is wrongly used. The moment a person is seen very handsome, we have the vulgar look. The moment a girl is seen very beautiful, you have the look of lust. Whereas in morality, when you have moral character, you do not belittle yourself. That moral soundness, moral uprightness is supreme. Swami Vivekananda, no doubt, has the physical personality. Physical personality we get because of our good diet, good exercise, and pranayama. If possible, 45 minutes before the sunrise, stand in front of the Lord, Sun God, and do the Surya Namaskars. Wonderful personality we can get. Even at the age of 80, 90, we will be robust, we will be healthy, our walk will be majestic, our look will be very dynamic. That personality we can certainly develop if only we observe diet, exercise, and Surya Namaskars. That's not enough. That's not sufficient. That's not full personality. The second most important personality is your moral uprightness. That's what brings credit to Mahatma Gandhi. If Swami Vivekananda is praised all over the world today, it's because of his moral uprightness. And that moral uprightness is called character. Your looks should not be lustful. Loving looks are different from lustful looks. You can know whether the person loves you or has a desire for you, vulgar desire. Swami Vivekananda is of the top thinking that moral uprightness is very important. He has written many letters to his devotees, to his co-disciples, etc. In all the letters you find purity, purity, purity. Moral purity, physical purity. If Swami Vivekananda is a Messiah prophet today, it's not only because of his wonderful physical appearance, but because of his moral uprightness. Don't tell a lie to be moral. Keep your word to be moral. to be loving, moral, and Sri Ramachandra Prabhu is today worshipped because of his moral uprightness. He was faithful to his wife. He was loyal to his father, and that is moral uprightness. Corruption should not creep into our physical makeup, into your psychic setup. And that gives you strength. That gives you character. That is moral uprightness. This is a second personality. Third personality is your ethical excellence. What do you mean by ethics and what do you mean by morality? Morality is a code of conduct prescribed by a society for the social welfare. Once upon a time in India, men were entitled to marry many women. Why? It was a social necessity. There were kings. There were frequent wars, battles. Men were employed as soldiers. Many young men were dying on the battlefield. Male population was coming down. Female population was going up. If one man, one woman policy is to be taken into consideration, many women do not have a man to marry. Therefore, to fulfill that urge, our people have allowed the men to marry more than one woman. It was a necessity. It was a code of conduct. When you go to the temple, you remove your shoes. It's a code of conduct. When you go to the church, you need not remove. It's a code of conduct. In certain areas, a little of alcohol is needed. It is necessary. But in a country like India, there is no need. It is no morality. Moral code of conduct changes from area to area, country to country, generation to generation, institution to institution. But ethics is permanent. Ethics is humanism, love of the fellow human beings. We are born human and we love humanity. That is ethics. Swami Vivekananda has that ethical personality. First personality is physical. Second personality is moral. Third personality is ethical. Swami Vivekananda at the Parliament of Religions on the 11th of September 1893 spoke with his wonderful address, Sisters and Brothers of America. People clapped for full 3 minutes. It took more than 15 to 20 minutes for people to settle down. And he spoke for a few minutes. He became a global personality. That day, many people came to congratulate him, shower encomiums on him, heap applause on him. He was given beautiful apartment. Many people brought the gifts. Many people brought wonderful dishes for him to eat. And by the time all of them left, it was about 11 o'clock in the night. Morning, he was an unknown person. By night, he became a matinee idol, a wonderful glowing personality. Now, when all the people left, the whole day he was tired, he was hungry, he was seeking rest. After they left, he should have rushed to the food. He should have enjoyed the feast and he should have slept comfortably in the cushions. No. He did not rush to the food. He did not rush to the cushion to sleep. He rolled on the floor and wept profusely. What made him weep? I came from India. Today I am raised to the heights. People brought me gifts. People brought me foods. Beautiful places given to me for me to rest. But should I enjoy it when thousands and thousands of my fellow human beings in India are starving, when they don't have a morsel of food to eat, when they don't have a shelter over their head, when they are all starving in India, Is it right on my part alone to sit and enjoy the comforts of the West? He did not eat. This is ethics. Suppose you are traveling by a train. You are seated in the window seat. You have a packet of food. You open the packet. You are about to eat. On the platform, there is an old man beggar. He is looking at the food packet with hunger, with the urge to ask for the food. Can you eat? No. There is humanism. Swami Vivekananda remembered the thousands and thousands of fellow human beings starving in India. He could not eat. He rolled, wept, and he composed a beautiful sentence that day. Him mai kale Mahatma, whose heart bleeds for the poor. There are thousands of poor people, starving people, and for them, there should be blood coming out of my heart. There should be tears coming out of my eyes. I should share whatever I have with them. That is a Mahatma. Gandhiji is called a Mahatma because during the independence struggle, he came to Madurai, Tamil Nadu. His talk was at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, scorching sun, sweating people, thousands of them waiting for Gandhiji to address. And exactly at the appointed time, Gandhiji came. He looked at the ocean of humanity, all dark, tanned bodies without the upper garment. They were all sitting in the scorching sun. Looking at the people, Mahatma Gandhi thought, when thousands and thousands of my fellow human beings do not have a shirt to wear, when they don't have a shawl to cover their body, what right do I have to enjoy the comfort of the upper garment? He removed then and there the shirt. Since then, he did not put on a shirt, nor did he have an upper garment, and that is a Mahatma. We cannot afford to enjoy the pleasures of this body, of this world, when my fellow human beings are suffering. Once upon a time in India, if in the village a person died, whole village did not eat. People were coming and helping the family where there was a death. In my own house, once upon a time, if anybody fell sick in the house, there were more than 15, 20 people. It's a joint family. If one man was suffering from fever, the remaining people could not eat. Such was the sympathy. Such was the fellow feeling. How can we enjoy the pleasures of this world when many people are suffering, especially in India? Go to the street, how many people are suffering? During this corona, how many people are without job, without income, without any source for food? How are we to enjoy the pleasures? And we have to be helpful to them. Same Swami Vivekananda during that night, 11th September 1893, first sentence Mahatma Gandhi, him I call a Mahatma whose heart bleeds for the poor. Second sentence, him I call a Duratma, him I call a traitor, him I call a scoundrel, who having been educated at the cost of millions and millions of poor people, does not think of them, does not love them, does not live for them. How many of our intelligent people have gone abroad? Have they any compassion, consideration for the people in India? Once I was addressing school children. I was talking about Pandavas. 8th class or 9th class children. I asked the children, my dear children, among the 5 Pandavas, whom do you like most? One girl stood up And she said, I love Arjun, sir. Why? Why do you like him? Is it because very handsome he is? Arjuna Palguna Partha Kiriti Bhivatsa Dhananjaya, MSc, PhD, DSc, DLit, such degrees he has? Is it because he is Dhananjaya, the bringer of money? What is the reason? Why do you love him? Why do you admire him? Why are you his fan? Then that small girl of the 8th standard told me, sir, his brothers in the Aranyavasa chose Arjun. My dear Arjun, your Viluvidya is not sufficient. Your Indian degrees are not sufficient. Go abroad. Go to heaven. There is a supreme archer. Excellent Viluvidya training masters are present. Please go to Swarga. Please go to US. Please go to UK. I don't have the passport. I don't have the visa, Arjun said. That we will arrange. Dharmaraj said, Bhima said, Nakula said, Sahadeva said. His own brothers. They got the passport. They got the visa. They got the money for him to go to the foreign country. That is heaven in those days. And Arjun went there. There, he underwent the training. He got laurels, certificates, gold medals, best student award. And then his professor said, my dear Arjun, I am retiring. The professorship will be given to you. You stay here. Why do you go back to India? Our people go to US and there somebody says, you stay here. Why do you go back to India? Arjun said, no. Why do you want to go back to India? My Indian brothers have educated me. My Indian taxpayers have educated me. No doubt I have come for additional degrees and additional training. This must be utilized for the benefit of my fellow human beings in my country. Arjun refused to stay in the heaven. He said he would go back to the forest to be helpful to his brothers because his brothers have sent him. The brothers of in India, they have educated us. They are sending us. It is their taxpayers' money which is used for my going abroad, and Arjun has returned. Then Trump invited him, or Indra invited him. My dear son, stay here. I will give you permanent certificate to stay in US. You become a US citizen, heaven citizen. After me, you will be my successor. You will be the president of US. Arjun said, no, sir. I am an Indian. I am a Pandava. I have come from the earth and I shall go back to my earth. What for? To help my brothers. That is brotherhood. That is ethics. Arjuna refused the offer of the professor. Arjuna declined the offer of the king of heavens. And now, 4-year course or whatever it may be, when he was packing his luggage to return to India, all these 4 years or 5 years, a girl was wooing him, following him. And that girl was Urvashi, a white girl, an American girl, a heavenly damsel, Urvashi, angel. And she said, my dear Arjun, I love you. Simply he said, get out. Where are you going? To India. To be with that dark girl, Draupadi, Krishna, 5 husbands. I am more beautiful. I am heavenly. I am a damsel. Please stay here in heaven. Marry me. Arjun said no. And that is ethics. His love for the country, his love for his brothers, his love for the native place, he declined the offers of 3 people. A beautiful girl offered to marry him, said no. The king of heavens offered to stay there. He refused. Professor said, please stay here. No. Vivekananda returned. Very many people criticize India. Yes, this is my birthplace. This is my motherland. There is nothing wrong in going abroad, improving the qualifications, improving the income. But your heart and soul must be here to love. Ram and Lakshman were in Lanka, in the outskirts of Lanka. Ravana was killed. Lakshmana slowly came to Ram and said, "My dear brother, 14 years ho gaya. We are here away from Ayodhya. Our brother Bharata might have developed attachment to the kingdom. He might continue to be the king. Why can't we stay here? Lanka is beautiful, wonderful. Electricity does not fail. Water supply does not fail. Roads are excellent. Helicopters are present. Lifts are present. Modern civilization is present. Why can't we stay here?" Then Ram says, "No. How about my people? Janani Janmabhumischa Swargadapi Gariyasi." Mother, motherland, mother tongue are superior to anything, including heaven. That is ethics. Humanism. We should be in a position to have consideration for the fellow human beings. And that is the ethical personality. First personality is physical. Second personality is moral, where you have character. Third personality is your ethical personality, where you have humanism. Once I was in Hyderabad. Near Hyderabad, there is a town called Kurnool. In that Kurnool, there is a person called Pullareddy Garu, a sweet merchant. He has many colleges. There is one mentally retarded children's school. I was invited. One top police officer was also invited to witness their sports day. It was a running competition. The track was laid. There were about 11 children within the age group of 10 and 15. They are all mentally retarded. The whistle was blown. The tracks were perfect. All the 11 children started running. One girl was ahead. A boy was running by her side. He fell. The girl looked at her side. She found the boy not coming. She went back, lifted the boy. Holding the boy's hand, she started running. When she was holding the boy's hand, the remaining 9 people held each other's hand. All the 11 children holding each other's hand ran to the last point. Who has won? The team. That is humanism. In humanism, there is no competition. There is only cooperation. There is only self-dedication. There will be people who are superior to you, inferior to you, stronger than you. Survival of the fittest is the jungle law. The weak people are to be supported. They are all to be helped. And that helping tendency, that cooperation tendency, that self-dedication tendency is called humanism. And that is ethical character, ethical personality. Now I have given you 3 personalities. One is physical, one is moral, the other is ethical. Swami Vivekananda is considered to be a great patriot. He is considered to be a great philosopher. He is considered to be a great orator. He is considered to be a great thinker. As far as I am concerned, I look at him as a man of humanism. He loved the fellow human beings. He wanted everybody to be brought to the top. That was his wonderful socialistic thinking, ethical thinking. And now, beyond these 3, you have one more character which is particularly present in India, and the spiritual dimension. What do you mean by that spiritual character, sir? I give an episode. In the Mahabharata, Pandavas are 5, Kauravas are 100. Pandavas are helped by Krishna. The war was to take place. The Pandavas requested Krishna to be their messenger to see that there is no war. Sri Krishna sent appropriate letter to Duryodhana. Mr. Duryodhana, Monday morning, 10 o'clock, I will be arriving in your Hastinapur. I shall stay in a guest house. I shall not come to your house. I shall not stay in the government bungalow. I shall stay in a private house, Vidura's house, and I shall come to your Darbar hall exactly at 10 o'clock to deliver the message of Yudhishthira. This message was sent to Duryodhana 2 or 3 days before. Immediately, Duryodhana convened an emergency meeting of all his ministers, subjects, people, etc. They all attended. My dear friends, subjects, ministers, Monday morning, 10 o'clock, that chief musician, that Krishna will be visiting our Darbar hall to deliver the message of Yudhishthir. When he comes here, nobody should stand to respect him. Nobody should offer any salutations to him. We must ignore him. We must disrespect him. If possible, insult him, humiliate him. This is my order. If anybody disobeys my order, the head will be removed. I shall behead that fellow. There were 10,000 people. Everybody was scared of Duryodhana. The emergency meeting was over. Monday morning dawned. It was 10 o'clock sharp. The Darbar hall was full. Everybody was seated. Duryodhana was also seated with all his brothers. And now, there at the entrance, Sri Krishna, with a gentle smile, was entering. At the entrance, there were 2 sentinels, security people. They dropped their weapons, looking at the wonderful personality of Sri Krishna. He has all the personalities. Physical personality he has. Moral personality he has called a brahmacharya. He is a man of brahmacharya. How? That is a different chapter I will explain later. And he has humanism. Anybody, anywhere in distress, he will come to his rescue. That is his human character. Now, physical personality, moral personality, and ethical personality he has. Now he has come. Looking at his wonderful personality, the 2 security people dropped their weapons, fell at his feet, offered Sastanga Namaskar. Next 2 people stood up. They offered their pranams. Next 2 people, next 2 people, next 2 people. And the whole hall, everybody greeted Krishna with obedience. Everybody offered pranams to Sri Krishna. Duryodhana was seated. All the people were looking at Krishna with regards. Duryodhana cannot find a prison house for 10,000 people. He cannot kill all of them. He looked at them. He was the odd man. He too stood up. He too offered pranams. He too respected Krishna. And this is spiritual personality. Normally, our politicians demand respect. Spiritual people command respect. We have power worship. There is a joke. If a dog dies in the house of the collector, many people come to offer their sympathies, condolences. When the collector dies, even a dog does not come. We have now power worshippers, position worshippers, Gunda worshippers, Baba worshippers, Dada worshippers, political worshippers, but real spirituality is effulgence. When you love all will love you. What is spirituality? Love of all. Sri Krishna is a person, loves all, therefore deserves to be loved by all. In the Rajasuyaga, he was the person to wash everybody's feet while welcoming. Therefore, Yudhishthira says, Krishna is to be given the honor of the chief guest because he loves all, therefore he deserves to be loved by all. He serves all, therefore he deserves to be served by all. He takes care of all, therefore he is to be taken care of. He looks after all, therefore he deserves to be looked after all. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu is the prayer of a spiritual person. India is a land of spirituality. Neither Sri Ramakrishna nor Swami Vivekananda was selfish. They were global personalities. They were divine personalities because they lived for the welfare of humanity, mankind. Sakala charachara jagat pipilikadi brahma paryamtam. They wanted everybody to be safe, everybody to be grand, everybody to be sublime. And that is a spiritual personality. 4 personalities I have tried to highlight here. One is the physical personality, which we get by dieting, exercise, and Surya Namaskars. Moral personality is the personality by which you have control over your mind. It should not be loose, it should not be vulgar. You can love but should not have lustful looks. That is moral character. Ethical character is humanism. Love your fellow human being. Spiritual character, you look at yourself in the eyes of others. That is spirituality. Swami Vivekananda moved from physical personality to moral personality to ethical personality, finally to the spiritual personality. India is a land of spirituality. India is a land of yoga. It is a land of love. It is a land of humanism. Take any great sadhu or sannyasi of the past. They were simple. They were humane. They were tyagis. And that was the character of a spiritual personality. We are now speaking on behalf of Swami Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence. Human excellence shines most when you have the personality, and that personality is fourfold. All the personalities Swami Vivekananda has, let us imbibe the great personality of Swami Vivekananda. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Hari Om Tat Sat. You can stop. I
Namaskaram,
have
sir.
another class. Excuse me.
Okay, sir. Jai Ram Krishna, sir. Participants, I request everyone to turn their videos and microphones off by the next class. We are ending the session. Thanks for the cooperation.
Hello. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Sir, I tried to enter with the mobile device, but I was not allowed, sir.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
I got the mail and I fixed it. Don't worry,
yeah.
we'll arrange something else for this.
So I had to connect with the system.
No, sir, you can do it with the mobile.
Next class.
You can do it from the mobile. You can do it from the mobile.
Means I got a message saying the host has deactivated.
No, sir. Actually,
Sent in.
yes, yes. I'll talk to you on phone, sir. I'll
No
talk.
issues, sir. No issues. Thank you. Thank you.